Okay, now I'm recording. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my official WrestleMania 40 weekend predictions. I'm going to do predictions for the entire weekend. Well, entire weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Right here in this one video. I'm going to start off by quickly glazing over Stand and Deliver, but then mainly focus on WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday. I typically do simulations and predictions and all in one, in combination videos for each individual match. But I'm not doing that this time because I don't have the time to do those right now. Tonight is being recorded the night before I leave to go to Philadelphia to attend WrestleMania myself. My first ever WrestleMania in person. I'm so excited. But anyway, enough of the chitter chatter. Let's get right into it. For Stand and Deliver, first off, you have Shawn Spears versus Joe Gacy. I imagine Shawn Spears is going to win. He's new to the roster. Well, actually, it could be Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy's been getting kind of a push with losses recently. I don't know. There's kind of a last-minute match kind of thrown on there. But, yeah. Then we have the Wolf Dogs versus Axiom and Fraser. Axiom and Fraser don't seem like the kind of people that would take the titles from the Wolf Dogs, but Braun's being called up to the main roster, so I wouldn't be surprised if he drops them there. Thea, Kalani, and Fallon versus JC, Kiana, and Izzy. I imagine Thea Hale, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley have got to take the W, with Thea Hale pinning JC Jane would be the most satisfying way, unless they plan on building up to a singles match later down the line. Oba Femi versus Dijak versus Josh Briggs for the NXT North American Championship. I imagine Oba retains here by pinning Briggs. If it does lose it, it would be by Dijak pinning Briggs. Maybe the feud with Dijak may continue down the road, but I don't think they want Dijak losing right now because he's got a lot of momentum. Ilya Dragunov versus Tony D'Angelo for the NXT Championship. I imagine Ilya retains here. I don't see Ilya dropping it until Trick gets a rematch after a hopefully successful main event. Then Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. This one's tough to predict because I feel like this wasn't their original plan for Stand and Deliver, because I feel like somebody else is supposed to be in the either NXT Women's Champion or in the Women's Championship picture that is not due to injury right now. But I guess I'll lock in Roxy, but I'm really not sure. But then lastly in the main event we have Carmella Hayes versus Trick Williams. It's got to go to Trick. Trick's got to take that W, get a feel-good babyface win to cap off the night, or cap off the afternoon. And, yeah, Trick Williams got to take the W, otherwise what are we doing? Anyway, now on to WrestleMania Saturday. These are just in an order I randomly assembled that could be the order. Didn't put too much thought into it, just kind of try to make it varied. I have the show kicking off with Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. I see Rhea retaining here. This is for the Women's World Championship. Rhea's gotta win. I guess I do see a world where Becky wins, but I really don't think she should. Becky, I'm trying to think of who said it, but I forget who said it. I was watching some prediction videos earlier, but someone encapsulated it perfectly by saying it's the passing of the torch moment. Becky Lynch was the face of women's wrestling. Rhea Ripley is the new face of women's wrestling, and Rhea should go over here. And I think it was Dante from Stash Club Wrestling who said that he thinks that Rhea should hold the championship for a whole nother year. I would not be opposed to that. I'm not sure who would be the only person at all really that I could see being here for the title right now would be Liv Morgan, but I don't see it happening for a little while still. Wouldn't be until at least SummerSlam. But I don't know, maybe they'll tell a really good story with that, because there's fortunately nobody else credible on Raw right now. But anyway, Rhea retains for sure. Mommy wins. Next up, I have Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar. Dirty Dom and Santos are going to take the win here. I don't see Dom losing to Rey 2 years in a row at WrestleMania. In fact, I specifically am going to predict that Dom will pin Rey to end the match, because that would get Dom such radioactive nuclear heat. And Dom and Santos stand much more to gain than Rey or Dragon Lee does, I guess, have some to gain. It'd be his first WrestleMania match, but Ray doesn't really have anything to gain out of it, and I imagine we're getting a Carlito heel turn because he looked very like they made sure to show him getting excited as if Ray was going to be picking him as his tag team partner. Then they didn't, and he seemed pretty darn upset about it. So I'm imagining we're getting a Carlito heel turn, which I am totally here for. Carlito's a way better heel than babyface, but either way, Dom and Santos for the W. Next up, we have Gunther versus Sami Zayn I almost said NXT, for the Intercontinental Championship. Part of me is really worried that Sami is going to win, but I'm going with Gunther. Gunther is who should win here. Sami's story is not for the Intercontinental Championship. His story recently has been to prove he is a World Championship contender. And winning the Intercontinental title, a title he's already won 3 times before, would just prove that he's not. He's been pursuing the world title. This would show he's essentially he's not doing it. I would rather see Sami win Money in the Bank later this year, and be able to use it to win his first world championship. I think he'd be a really good Money in the Bank holder, even for a babyface. I think it would be really good. I think he'd be a great Money in the Bank holder, and I just don't see him being the one to beat Gunther. They seem to be acknowledging the fact that people really want Chad Gable to be the one to do it, and I'm really hoping at least that that's the story they're going to be building to. Some people are saying that there might be a Chad Gable heel turn, which I wouldn't be totally opposed to, but I would rather see him be the one to beat Gunther. Next up, I have Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill versus Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. I almost said Io Sky, but Damage Control. And it's got to be Bianca, Naomi, and Jade Cargill taking the W here. It's Jade Cargill's pseudo debut. Her debut is the Royal Rumble, but this is her first match that goes to a fall that she'll be participating in. And I imagine they're going to try to make her look really good here, especially teaming up, especially with Bianca. Naomi as well. Glad to see Naomi gets on the card. I don't really see what Damage Control stands to gain from this. It's got to be Team Bianca, Naomi, and Jade's going to be the one delivering the pin. And I don't see Bianca's WrestleMania streak ending like this. And she didn't have a huge WrestleMania streak. She's 3-0, I think, from 37, 38, and 39. But I imagine they'll make it a bigger deal. Not like an Undertaker thing or anything, but in a year or two, have her lose in a more personal manner. Hopefully, I would love to see this lead to a Bianca heel turn. I heard a report a year ago or so, but saying that Bianca doesn't want to turn heel. That sucks to hear because I didn't see her heel run in NXT or wherever it was. She had a brief heel run. But I imagine she would be a phenomenal heel, and I think that would be exactly what she needs. Because I feel like she's, at least on me, she's starting to get a little stale. Not super stale, but a little bit. And I think a heel turn would be great. I could see her being a fantastic heel. But next up, I have Jimmy versus Jay, Uso versus Uso, brother versus brother, me versus me. Before the past day or two, I would have told you Jay. But especially after hearing what a lot of people have been saying, discussing how things are going, and somebody specifically, I heard somebody, I think this was also on Stash Club Wrestling, say, what if Jimmy wins and Roman loses? Which I think is something very interesting to talk about, or to think about storyline wise. I feel like that's where they would want to head, but I don't know. They could have the whole bloodline losing, but we'll get to that later. But I'm thinking Jimmy might go over. I don't know, because Jay's the babyface. He needs to have his big singles win. He hasn't had that happen yet. He's been in singles main events, but he always loses, unless it's on Raw or something, not on a PLE. All of his singles main events on PLEs have been losses, every single one. Or every PLE singles match in general has been a loss. I would like to see him get a W. But I'm kind of seeing WrestleMania Night 1 shape out a certain way. So I'm going to go with Jimmy Uso. Next up, I have the Judgment Day versus the Awesome Truth versus DIY versus the New Day versus the New Catch Republic versus A-Town Down Under in a 6-pack ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. This might not go here in order because I don't think they want this right before the main event because people will likely be exhausted because this match is going to be awesome, I hope. I do not see Judgment Day winning here. I, like many others, since this match has really been announced, have believed this is how they're splitting the titles up. Which I think is a really creative way to do it. So I've been debating between two pairings. On the Raw side, either the Awesome Truth or DIY, and on the SmackDown side, either New Catch Republic or A-Town Down Under. I'm leaning more towards Awesome Truth for Raw because that's the story lends itself better. But and R-Truth deserves the championship. Like he deserves to have one more true championship run that's not the 24/7 title. He hasn't had one of those in like a decade. A non 24/7 championship title run, I should say. And he's getting up there in age. He deserves one more. He's been super over recently. I think he deserves it. But I would also really like to see DIY do it because they're starting to get really hot right now. And I don't know. They would be great tag team champions. I think they'll have a great showing in this match regardless. Maybe they could take the SmackDown ones and change brands. I don't know. On the SmackDown side, I'm really split between New Catch Republic and A-Town Down Under. New Catch Republic has been getting really over as well because they're just putting on phenomenal matches. Like, just look at their match they just had against Legado del Fantasma. It was amazing. But A-Town Down Under would be a really good heel tag team to have win and be running with the tag belts because Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are just really good. They've got great chemistry. But I think I'm going to settle with Awesome Truth and A-Town Down Under. Just because New Catch Republic just had a shot at the titles. And then to close off WrestleMania Saturday, we have the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins to determine the stipulation for the main event of WrestleMania Sunday. Bloodline is going over here. I do not really see a world where Cody and Seth win here, because it would just make the night 2 main event less big, and that's what WrestleMania is really all about, right? It's about the spectacle, the size, the scale, and it being them teasing a Bloodline rules match where anything goes, or not, and there's actually going to be less stuff that happens. I don't see them taking the option where less stuff is going to happen. I think they're going to go Bloodline rules, so that way in the main event of night 2, there could be just all kinds of interferences. This is going to be an overbooked mess. But I also see them wanting to try to stack the deck against Cody for night 2, so that way he has bigger obstacles to overcome. So that way, it seems more impossible heading into that night. It makes it a greater challenge for Cody to have to overcome. And going back to what I was saying about Jimmy versus Jay, I do see a world where the Bloodline dominates night 1 to really sink in night 2 being a threat for Cody. Now on to WrestleMania Sunday. I have it kicking off with Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. I am going for Drew to win this match. It's his time, dude. He totally deserves to have his WrestleMania moment, getting the victory in front of the crowds at WrestleMania for a world title. He just absolutely deserves it, and he's one of the best characters on television right now. For Damian, do I see Damian cashing in? Yes. I don't think he'll be successful though. I don't know if he's gonna attempt to cash in and fail to cash in the first place, or if he's gonna cash in and lose. Because I really don't want people cashing in and losing very often. I want that to be a very rare thing. They may sound rare, but we're not even at a 90% success rate on cashing in. I think it always should be in the 90s, and it's not. It's in the 80s somewhere. So I really don't want him cashing in and losing, but I also don't want it to be taken away from Drew. I don't know. But I could also see CM Punk costing, like, because he hates Seth and Drew. So regardless of who comes out on top, I could see him having no problem with helping Damian win. But I'm just going to go with Drew for my pick. Now I have Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament in a Philadelphia street fight. I really hope this goes to the Final Testament because they need it. Like, if they lose here, they're dead. The faction is done onion rings. And they need that W to really get themselves over. Like, I think this, like, people talk about like maybe the lackluster build or story that's been going on here. The match itself, I think, is going to be freaking awesome. Like, the Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, where anything goes, weapons, tables, you name it. I could see it going pretty darn well. I think it'll be actually a really entertaining match, regardless of its story, and I can see it making the Final Testament look pretty good. So, out of pure hope, I'm going to go for Final Testament. Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. I'm going to go with Logan Paul. I think he's going to retain. That's why it's a triple threat and not one-on-one against Randy Orton. KO has the just reasons of being screwed out of his last title match, but still. I think Logan's going to hold on to it until LA Knight takes it from him. Speaking of LA Knight, next up I have LA Knight versus AJ Styles. LA Knight's got to take the win here. It's got to be LA Knight. It's his WrestleMania debut. He's super over. AJ doesn't really stand anything to gain. LA Knight deserves that WrestleMania moment. It's got to go to LA Knight. Then in the penultimate match, I have Io Sky versus Bayley in the WWE Women's Championship match. I think it's going to be another strong babyface win, with Bayley taking the championship off of Io and her getting her WrestleMania moment as well. And in the final match, it's Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Bloodline rules. It's not as clear as I thought it would be. If you had told me last year after WrestleMania 39 and just said, oh yeah, they're going to face off against each other again, I would have been like, oh yeah, and Cody wins, right? I'd be like, hopefully. They've done a good job of making us not so sure that it's going to play out that way. But I am going to pick Cody for my win. I still think it is going to be him. He still is, like, I think the most likely option, but it's not as clear as I thought it would be. Another reason I think, going back to Saturday, I'm thinking of to clarify on what I meant for the match type thing on why it's going to be the Bloodline. I rarely ever see a time when they pitch it being a regular match versus a cool stipulation match, and then them going with the regular match and be like, oh, never mind, you don't get the cool stipulation anymore. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be Bloodline rules, and there's going to be tons of interferences. You're going to get Jimmy, you're going to get Paul, you're going to get Solo, you may even get freaking the other person in the family they just hired, Tama Tonga or whatever his name is. Get him in there. Get freaking Rikishi in there. Rikishi may show up for the Jimmy J match, but get him in there too. Get people from the Bloodline and all kinds of people interfering, then get like Roman's past opponents coming out there and evening the score, get a whole on war going on there, or just have a few people come out, just some surprises to help even the odds, so that way Cody can finally have the opening to finish the story. Not necessarily help him win, but help keep him from getting screwed, essentially. Maybe we'll get some glass shattering, hopefully, maybe. That'd be cool. I've never seen Stone Cold in person, so that'd be cool. Maybe you get a John Cena, I don't know. But either way, at the end of the day, I see WrestleMania 40 ending the same way as WrestleMania 30 and WrestleMania 20, when the deck is stacked against the crowd favorite underdog. He still comes out on top for a nice, passionate win, and it's just emotional all around, smiles everywhere, and it's just a feel-good moment to end off the biggest WrestleMania of all time. And that being said, I'm going to get to bed because I got a long drive in the morning. So thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And keep an eye out for some WrestleMania videos. Goodbye.